Hey guys and ghouls, today we're going to be doing a special episode with Black Licorice. Why is it special? We're going to be doing a mocktail. Why mocktail? Because sober curious is cool. What is sober curious? You're curious about it but never sober? Or are you? Yeah, why not? Detox once in a while. What is black licorice? The ingredients of this are wheat flour, corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, cane sugar, cocoa powder, vinegar, salt, anise flavor, licorice extract. What is licorice extract? Is licorice an herb?
I don't know if it's a plant. I just have
Licorice is a plant. I haven't had black licorice in years because I think I've written it off in my head. Yet I'm still making a mocktail with it today. Am I crazy? Here we go. Still not a fan. This is like a niece came knocking on your door and it's like, hey, who is the pa? Just punch you in your face. Are you a licorice person? Like and subscribe. Are you not a licorice person? Like and subscribe. Does anybody say like and subscribe anymore? Okay, today's mocktail, I'm very inspired by the espresso martinis and the many variations of what you can do with it. I am going to do a mocktail espresso martini. Ricky, isn't that just coffee? I could go to Starbucks for that. Yes. You can get coffee at Starbucks, but can you get a cream corn foam with a non-alcoholic allspice dram? Again, sometimes I think I'm just making words up. So, what was I saying? Black licorice. Oh, allspice, that's right. I have ADD. So I want to be infusing the licorice in the allspice to give it more of that anise flavor, but subtle anise. We don't want to get punched in the face. We want anise to be like, hey, just dropping off a package. We don't want violence here. So the first thing we're gonna do is make cold brew. Today for my coffee, I chose Sir Alvarez's Honduras blend. So how you do cold brew is very, very simple. You want to get the bean to a coarse amount. So I've done the math on this before, but can you really trust me with the math? Basically, I weighed it out and it is 40 grams per, you want about 3 cups of water, which is measured out, it's about here. So I'm gonna fill this up with water. I added about 3 cups of water in here, just regular filtered water. We're gonna give this a good little shake. And that's all cold brew is. It's so easy to make. We're gonna let this sit for about 12 to 24 hours while it extracts all the coffee. So while we wait 12 to 24 hours, we'll come back tomorrow. Just kidding. Oh, I prepared this the day before. Basically, once you let this sit for 12 to 24 hours, then you start to strain. It's a very simple thing. It doesn't have to be complicated here. You know what the theme is? The theme going to 2025? Make your life easier. Go for the low-hanging fruit. But not too low, just like a nice, like reachable height. Cause you still wanna set for greatness. Does that make any sense? No. So basically we're going to pour this over. Oh. And the filtered result is our cold brew. And here you have it, homemade cold brew, which we'll use in our mocktail and we'll set aside. Let's move on to the next ingredient, which is the allspice dram. But before we start, here is my cold brew that I promised I was gonna take a shot of. Mocktail shot! Oh my God, do you think the caffeine's gonna hit me in the middle? And I'm like, okay, so we're gonna make the allspice dram. What we're gonna do first is we're gonna be making the syrup, which is sugar and water. We're using brown sugar because allspice is supposed to be like a warm spice liqueur. So we're gonna turn this on high and we're going to cook the sugar with some water and let it boil. In this mix, we're actually using rum. But wait, Ricky, this is a mocktail. Yes, it is true, we're going to cook out the rum. A lot of chefs say once alcohol cooks out, it loses its proof. It's like ethanol, it's like actual alcohol. Upon my research, I had found out that there are still trace amounts of it depending on how high you heat it for and how long you heat it for. So in this case, I'm using rum and I'm gonna cook it out, and I think it's gonna be so low that it's gonna be negligible amounts. But if you want this to be truly non-alcoholic, I would omit the rum. Before we get to that, let's crush the allspice berries. The best way I could explain the flavor of this is it smells like cloves, cinnamon, anise, in that realm. So in order to get...
That's why they're called allspice, because they smell like
all the spices. What is this called? Like a mortar? Mortar and pestle. That sounds like the name of the next restaurant gentrifying your neighborhood. Basically, what crushing this does is it releases the flavor so that it's a lot more potent and flavorful. I'm checking the syrup over here, which this is essentially a brown sugar simple syrup, which smells lovely. So while that cooks, I'm going to mix this rum mixture in. I'm just going to sort of like separate some of these licorice in here and hope that it infuses. I'm not an expert on red vine licorice infusions, so I'm not sure how potent this will be, but I'm sure once we cook it out with the sugar, it's going to blend all the flavors together. So in this mixture, we have a cup of rum, some black licorice, 1 cinnamon stick, and our mortar and pestled allspice berries in here. So once this is all mixed in, we're going to add this into our boiled syrup and let this cook. We're gonna bring this to a boil and let this cook for about 5 minutes. There's a fly. There's a fly! I do want to take a smell and see how this smells while it's cooking. Oh. Have you guys ever smelled like, is it vinegar or something where you like take like a whiff and it just like hits you in a way that you did not expect? Okay, so we have been letting this boil for about 5 minutes. What you get on this, it's all like bubbly goodness we've been stirring as we go. While this is done cooking, I am going to funnel this out, but because this is uber hot, I actually am going to pour some ice cubes. But wait, Ricky, you might be thinking you're gonna dilute the mix. No, I actually added less water for what the recipe called for so that I can account for this extra dilution. So I wanna let this cool off like so and give it one more taste before I bottle it. Do you think it's cold enough? Oh, I already see this spilling everywhere. Oh God. Not my most graceful moment. Oh my God. But you know, that's why we have rags and things. I love taste testing because if something is not to your liking, you can always add more. You can add more sugar, you can add more liquor. Liquor, I hardly know her. Oh, this is really nice. Oh, this is really nice. It's got the bitterness of the licorice and the notes of allspice. This tastes like a fall syrup. So we're going to bottle this and reserve for later. For our next ingredient, we are making grilled cherry juice. But Ricky, you don't have a grill. That's right, I am just going to heat this over a pan. Cooking fruit before you juice it is a trend that I've been seeing a lot. What it does is it caramelizes the sugar and condenses the flavor and brings out another aspect in this that you didn't know could taste this way. And you might be thinking, why not fresh cherries? Because it's fall and cherries are a summer fruit, sadly. You know, in my ideal world, cherries would be year round. I love cherries so much. So in this case, I got frozen cherries and I am going to heat it over my little pan and let it cook for, this looks like a crime scene. You know, this is like a good like decoration, you know, Halloween decor for free. I'm gonna let this heat up, and as soon as it does, I'm going to start blending this with water and making the cherry juice. So we waited maybe about like 5-10 minutes for this to cook out. I gave it a little taste. It really tastes compacted. There's a thickness to it that I think is really nice. After this, I think we're ready to give it a little blend. I'm gonna put this in first just because I'm a mess. Everything spills. I don't know how people don't spill. You know why? Subconsciously, I want to spill to just get it over with. I think that's low-key why I spill. Do you know what I mean? Because if I try to be too careful, it's like when the moment happens, I would be like, no! But if I get it over with, the damage is done. And that was my choice. Does that make any sense? Okay, also, just so you know what we did, I added a little water in here beforehand to keep the cherries from burning out. So now that we have everything, we're going to blend. Wow, wow. I'm gonna give this a taste before I... You guys, we did it. We did it, Joe. This tastes like a cherry syrup, but we didn't add any sugar to this. It just caramelized on its own. We're just gonna strain this out so we don't get all the chunks in there. And this will be our, oh, you know what I need? I need like a spoon to stir it in. This is kind of jammy. All right guys, so once we have strained out our cherry juice, the result should look like this. It tastes so good. It's a nice way to bring another cherry aspect into this cocktail. So we're gonna set this aside and work on our final ingredient, the cream corn foam. And the reason why I'm doing this is, do you know when you get an espresso martini and it has that beautiful foam on top? That's achieved in different ways. You can get it from using fresh espresso. You can use it from using egg whites in a sour. In our case, I'm adding a cream corn foam on top. I don't know how this is gonna taste yet, but I think corn and coffee is going to like taste really, really good. So, in order to do this, we're gonna do two things. We're gonna make the cream corn, and then we're gonna add this thing called magic foam, and we're gonna foam it up so that it becomes that nice velvety consistency. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn the pot on, and I'm gonna add a little bit of butter. You know, no one says how much butter. It's just how much butter you feel. I wanna add about yay much butter. People think I'm a fraud. Well, the reason why I'm not measuring is because I'm eyeballing everything, including my half and half. So for the corn, it's pretty easy. You just get fresh corn and just cut off the kernels from the side. It's actually very juicy. It's like, I didn't know corn had so much juice. It's getting nasty. You basically cut off the edges and take the kernel. And in this case, I'm gonna bring the kernels in. Again, I'm spilling everywhere because once you get over the fear of spilling, then you're fine. You know? To be honest, I think that's enough corn. We're gonna let this cook on a higher heat. I'm gonna add a little bit of half and half in here. You know, I'm eyeballing this situation here. This is cream corn, so this is the main consistency that we're going to. That was probably about 1 cup's worth of half and half. Once we bubble everything up and cook everything out, the butter and the corn is going to be soaked up into the cream. And that cream, once we strain it out, that's what we're gonna turn into foam. And is it really cream corn without a dash of simple syrup? So again, simple syrup is equal parts sugar and water. And I think it just, I mean, sugar tastes good, right? It makes everything taste good. So we're gonna add a little sugar and we're gonna let the magic happen. Yeah. Once it starts to bubble up like this, that's really all you need to do. It's going to extract all the flavors in already. So I'm just gonna turn the heat off and we're gonna strain this bad boy into our measuring cup, and this is where we're gonna foam up. You know, one day I'm not gonna spill. One day, this is all gonna go according to plan. I'm gonna give this a quick taste to make sure it tastes okay. I'm in heaven. This to me tastes like childhood. Do you guys like corn chowder? I love, this tastes like a sweet corn chowder without all the salt. Now we're gonna do the magic foam part. So this is where it gets mathy. So we need 2% of this magic foam and what they call a foam magic, and it's trademarked. So what this is as an ingredient is maltodextrin, methylcellulose, and xanthan gum. So this acts as a foaming agent that also stabilizes it. So now we are adding, how many grams of this? That's perfect. Okay, it's 220 grams. So 1 to 2%, let's do the math. 1 to 2% of 220, 0.015. Let's meet in the middle. You multiply by 220. Math. We need 3 grams of foam magic. I'm very proud of that. What happens is if you don't get it correct, it'll either not foam up or collapse in itself. So it is pretty specific. Okay, that's 2. Okay, that's 3. Perfect. Okay, so we're gonna add this to the cream corn and foam it on top and pray that it foams, because if it doesn't foam, I am a cheat and a liar and I'm never gonna work in this town again. Okay, so here's a moment of truth. Please work, please work, please work. Wow, that's beautiful. This is why math is important. You guys, stay in school, drink mocktails, learn math, tell your parents I love you, and they're divorced. Still tell them.
Tell them individually.
You can tell them individually. It is not. So this is what we're gonna scoop on top. So now it's a thickened consistency, but I just wanna taste it, just see what it. Have you guys seen those like memes where it's like a human body, but it's like, it's a drawn human body with like a bunch of rainbows and like just like, I have just tapped into my third eye. So I'm gonna let this chill in the fridge while we start on the cocktail. I will give a quick disclaimer. We're adding activated charcoal in this drink just for aesthetic purposes, but if you add activated charcoal, sometimes it can mess around with medication, so add at your own discretion. Are we ready? We're gonna add 2.5 ounces of our cold brew coffee. 2.5. We are going to add 1/2 ounce of our non-alcoholic allspice dram. And we're going to add 1 ounce of our cooked cherry juice. That sounds lovely. And I'm going to add the tiniest sprinkle of activated charcoal in here. You know, maybe a little more. Maybe a little bit more, why not? Give the children what they want. Ineffective medication. So now we're gonna add ice to our tin. And we are going to give this a nice thick shake, vigorous shake. I want this a little sweeter. So I'm gonna add 1/2 ounce more of this, and actually a little bit of my simple syrup in this. I want it to be a little sweeter, but I'm afraid if I add too much of this, it's gonna be too spiced. So I'm gonna cut it in half with a little simple syrup. All the flavors are really nice. So I'm adding about 3/4 ounce combined in here. And this still isn't black enough, so I'm going to add more charcoal. It's always easier to add less and add more, because you can't go back the other way. Beautiful, sexy. Let me give this a taste. This tastes so good. This tastes so good. I will also say, if you guys are making a mocktail and don't want espresso, you can also modify this with a decaf coffee. I just give you the roadmap and it's choose your own adventure. Feel free to use decaf. Feel free to use no activated charcoal. Feel free to use no rum in this. All right, we are ready for the final pour. Final countdown. That is beautiful and perfect. We are now, of course, going to layer in our cream corn foam on top. This is going to taste so good. I hope all the flavors work well together. I actually have not tried the corn flavor with the cherry all together. In my head, it's going to taste so good, but if it doesn't, I might be a fraud, and that's fine. We're here learning together. Okay guys, so we got the foam on top. We're gonna add the spider. I like the spider bits. Right?
It's like an espresso martini.
Oh, exactly, I'll put 3 little spiders on here. Here we have our witch's brew mocktail with our cream corn foam on top. Should we try this? I'm actually scared to see how this is gonna taste. The cherry and the coffee and the cream corn work so good. Wait, Christina, you need to try this. Like, drink through the foam. And get the inside.
The cherry comes through.
The cherry comes through.
Like a surprising amount, but like not, but it like melts.
This is such a fabulous little mocktail to serve on Halloween. I'm so happy with this, you guys. Cheers, my little ghouls. Feel free to recreate these at home and have a lovely Halloween. And feel free to leave in the comments for other fun ingredient stuff you guys would like to see me make or recreate and cause some chaos. Thank you, everyone.